right, you want to get multiple offers on your property? Do this. Very simple, short and sweet. The market's incredibly hot. Inventory is very low. Sellers are getting oftentimes multiple offers, and yet some are still making a critical mistake, which is keeping them out of getting the best results that they should be getting. So here's the simple understanding. It has to do predominantly with pricing. There's also components with regards to how the property shows. I'll probably do another video about that. But with regards to pricing specifically, what you want to be making sure that you are doing right is not overpricing your property. The reason why is because buyers are on their favorite search apps, etc., looking at all the properties in your neighborhood right now. There's a litany of buyers that are hoping that another property comes on the market where you live. And as soon as it comes on the market, those buyers have already been educating themselves for weeks, months, maybe even years about what properties in that neighborhood are really worth. So if everything else has been selling in the neighborhood for X and you list your house for X plus $50,000, which you may be able to actually sell it for based on how hot the market is, but when you list it there, buyers are going to be looking at it and say, you know what, that property feels like it's a little bit high. These exact same buyers, if you were to list it in line with what's, kind of accepted right now as the property's values in your neighborhood, they're going to say, we missed out on other properties in that neighborhood. We don't want to miss out on this one. Let's go take a look at it. And when they walk through it and they fall in love with it, they may very well offer $50,000 more than the list price because it becomes a competitive situation. I tell my clients all the time, there's two reasons why people pay more for a house: fear of loss and competition. When you list it in line with the market, what people kind of expect, and everybody falls in love with it, they will fight with each other and that property value goes up. If you list it at where you might ultimately be able to sell it for, you get 1, 2, 3 people walking through the house. Nobody's really willing to fight over anybody for it. They don't, strangely enough, the statistics show that they don't just make an offer $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 below asking price. They just say, we're going to wait for this seller to kind of have that come to Jesus meeting where they realize that they've unfortunately overpriced their property. So really important to make sure that you're listing in line with the market expectations, and then letting the market heat end up making your price go up. That's number one. The second thing about it that I think is important to just recognize is how how buyers are behaving online in their search criteria. People tend to search in intervals of $25,000. Let's use $500,000 as a starting point. There's a lot of buyers out there that are going to say, I need to see everything at $500,000 and below, $525,000 and below, $550,000 and below, $575,000 and below. But they're not going to go onto their favorite search site and say, what's on the market for $538,000 and below? Nobody searches that way. So when you're in line with the market, kind of what the market's expecting, you may also pay attention to these $25,000 price bands, as we call them, and put your property just underneath one to make sure that you show up where there are more eyeballs. I would never, if a property is worth, let's say, $525,000, I would never list it for $526,000. You're just losing eyeballs and you're not going to be making more money. You have to be smart about how internet search behavior is functioning right now, and that definitely means that people are searching in $25,000 intervals. So you use that in your pricing strategy and you'll get more eyeballs, more showings, more contracts, and when you got a lot more contracts, you're going to be able to negotiate those buyers up to a point that ultimately gets you the best outcome. Hope that makes sense. Hope it wasn't too long. You guys have a great one. Hope we cross paths here real soon. Bye.